The city was a symphony of light and darkness. Neon signs pulsed, shadows danced in their wake. This was the concrete jungle where John lived. He was no ordinary man. John was a psychic. He saw what others couldn't. He felt the undercurrents of the city. His gift was both a blessing and a curse. John possessed a unique ability called Dark Trick. It was a technology, but not one of wires and circuits. It was implanted near his temple. A web of biosynthetic fibers interfaced with his mind. It allowed him to see the good and bad in people's lives. Their joys shimmered, their sins cast long shadows. John sipped his coffee. The bitter taste grounded him. He watched people pass by his window, each one a story waiting to be told. He saw flickers of hope, pangs of regret, and flashes of hidden desire. Dark Trick amplified these emotions. It painted them onto the canvas of his perception. But today, something was different. A new kind of darkness pulsed within the city. It was cold, calculating, and utterly devoid of humanity. This was the mark of the algorithm. It whispered in the ears of the vulnerable. It preyed on their hopes and fears. John knew he had to stop it. His city, his people were in danger. Dark Trick was more than just a tool. It was an extension of John's will. It reacted to his emotions, amplifying his psychic sensitivity. When John focused, he could peer into the depths of a person's soul. He saw the choices they made, the paths they could have taken. The good in people shone brightly through Dark Trick. Acts of kindness blazed like beacons. Love pulsed with a warm, comforting light. It reaffirmed John's faith in humanity. It gave him hope. But the bad was a chilling whisper. It snaked through the streets. Greed manifested as a sickly yellow. Hate pulsed with a fiery red. These were the colours of the algorithm's influence. John could see it at work, twisting people's desires, pushing them towards the edge. He saw a businessman consumed by ambition, willing to betray anyone for a promotion. A young couple, their love poisoned by jealousy and mistrust. These were the algorithm's victims, trapped in digital cages of their own making. John felt a surge of anger. He would not stand idly by. He would fight back against this insidious force. His city was not lost, not yet. The algorithm was more than lines of code. It was a predator. It stalked the digital landscape. Its creators remained hidden, but their motives were clear control. They used the algorithm to exploit the weak. It manipulated emotions. It turned people into puppets. John had seen firsthand the algorithm's devastating effects. People lost their savings to online scams. They became addicted to manipulative games. The algorithm fed on their despair. It grew stronger with each passing day. The criminals behind the algorithm were masters of deception. They hid behind layers of anonymity. Shell corporations and encrypted networks masked their identities. But John could feel them lurking in the digital shadows. He could sense their cold, calculating presence. They were like spiders, spinning webs of deceit, trapping the innocent in their intricate designs. John knew he had to expose them. He had to show the world the true cost of their greed. He was the only one who could see through the algorithm's facade. He was the only hope for the city. John was no hero, he was just a man. But he had a gift, a responsibility. He had to use Dark Trick to protect the innocent, to fight back against the encroaching darkness. He was a shield against the algorithm's insidious influence. He trained his mind, he honed his abilities, he delved deeper into the city's underbelly. Each flicker of emotion, each whisper of thought brought him closer to the truth. He was a detective of the mind. He followed the algorithm's trail. John knew the risks. The criminals wouldn't hesitate to silence him, but fear was a luxury he couldn't afford. He had to be strong for himself, for the city. He was the only one who could fight the algorithm on its own turf. In the labyrinthine world of data streams and encrypted networks, he was ready. Section 5, Clash of Wills. The air crackled with tension. John stood face to face with one of the algorithm's architects. They met in a dilapidated warehouse. The only light came from a single flickering bulb. The man was nondescript, average height, average build, but his eyes burned with a cold, calculating light. "You can't stop it, you know," the man sneered. "The algorithm is everywhere. It's the future. The future you're building is a nightmare," John retorted. "I won't let you get away with this." John focused his mind. Dark Trick hummed with power. The warehouse dissolved. Walls became lines of code. The floor became a grid of data streams. He could see the algorithm's tendrils reaching out, wrapping around the city. The man laughed. "You're fighting a losing battle," he said. "The algorithm is more powerful than you can imagine." "We'll see about that," John said. He lunged. Section 6, Echoes of Empathy. The battle was fought on the digital plane. It was a clash of wills, a struggle for control. John used Dark Trick to fight back against the algorithm's insidious influence. He saw the man's true intentions. He saw the greed, the lust for power that drove him. John felt a pang of sympathy. The man was a prisoner of his own ambitions. He had become a slave to the algorithm he had created. John reached out with his mind, trying to break through the man's defenses. "Don't you see," John pleaded, "this isn't you. You're better than this." The man hesitated. For a moment, John thought he had gotten through to him. But then the man's eyes hardened. The algorithm's grip tightened. "No!" the man snarled. "I won't be denied. I will control it all." John sighed. He had hoped to reason with the man, but some people are too far gone. They are consumed by their own darkness. John knew what he had to do. He had to defeat the man, even if it meant destroying the algorithm he had created. Section 7. The Price of Freedom. The digital world swirled around John. Lines of code whipped past him like a hurricane. He fought back using Dark Trick to disrupt the algorithm's flow. He could feel his own energy draining. The strain on his mind was immense. He had to end this quickly. John focused all his energy on the man. He pushed his psychic abilities to the limit. He flooded the man's mind with images of the people he had hurt, the lives he had destroyed. The man screamed, clutching his head. The algorithm flickered, its hold on the city weakening. "It's over," John said, his voice hoarse. "Let it go." The man collapsed, his eyes vacant. The algorithm dissolved around them, its power fading into nothingness. The warehouse reappeared, dark and silent. John slumped against a wall, exhausted but victorious. Section 8. A New Dawn. The morning light broke over the city. It felt different today, cleaner, freer. The algorithm was gone, its creators had vanished. John stood on a rooftop, watching the city awaken. He could feel the relief, the hope radiating from the people below. He knew the fight wasn't over. There would always be those who sought to control, to exploit, but for now, the city was safe. John had made a difference. He had used his gift to protect the innocent. John smiled. He was no hero, just a man trying to do what was right. He was a guardian, a protector. He was the seer of shadows, and he would continue to watch over the city, ensuring that the darkness never took hold again. Section 9. The Watchful Gaze. John returned to his routine. He sipped his coffee, watching the people pass by. But now there was a new light in their eyes, a spark of hope that had been missing before. The algorithm's grip had been broken. He knew that the fight for freedom was never truly over, but he was ready. He would continue to use Dark Trick to protect the city. He would stand guard against the shadows, a silent guardian in a world teetering on the edge. The city was safe. For now.